That's the first shot at elderly.
We'll call the meeting to order. Hopefully this mask won't. Hopefully it'll sound better from that side than it does from my side. So, this meeting probably noticed.
Yes, it was.
Roll call, all board members are present. This committee. I'll need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Baker, seconded by Marge.
You were making that change?
Okay. And we need a. So we call it. I want to amend this, the sheriff has places to go, people to feed, so we'd like to move him up from number 15 to number 9. That's
So
moved by Rick, seconded by Don. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposition? Amendment carries. Now we'll vote on the agenda as amended. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposition? Motion carried. Motion to approve the minutes from January 11. Baker, seconded by Marge. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed say aye. Nay. Motion carried. Correspondence,
I have none.
project status, Kyle.
Yep, it was attached to the agenda. It looks like,
You got your mic on?
yeah, it is.
Is that better?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was attached to the agenda. It looks like there's been a few updates since the last time the project status report has been to this committee. Are there any questions on it?
Okay. Any questions for Kyle on project status? Josh, was that the one that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair. If I could have a moment, please.
Go ahead.
Supervisor Pustowski here of New Chester, and I'd like to make a recommendation on this project status report. It is a redundant in the other committees, and as I've reviewed this in the past, it's been a lot of time trying to understand this. And my recommendation would be that we could present this in a way on these agendas that would be more simplified and easier to understand for not only myself, but the public as a whole. And this would also be true of a lot of the other budgets that I see presented and a lot of the agenda items. I'd like to see things more simplified and easier for all of us to understand. These are very hard to understand. And honestly, in my opinion, it would take a team of accountants a week to decipher and understand these reports. So this is something that is very important to me. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Josh. Comments? Seeing none, we will move on. Marie, discuss monthly attendance. I've requested that to be on here from the standpoint that I wanted to make sure we were organized to the fact that maybe every other month is fine. I don't think we all have to be here. All the reports have to come every month. Some do, some don't. And the sheriffs, we want every month, but the other ones, were you as department head satisfied with the way it was? We have, I think, child support and clerk of court at the same meeting. And then we had Jane and Marilyn both at the same meeting. And then Rebecca, on yours, we thought maybe that the judges come on occasion, so if we would just put the DA along with the judges, and hopefully we would do that at least every other month.
I think so, yeah, that will work.
Okay. Any comments? Yeah, go ahead. This is Rick.
I think that's a great idea. However, if somebody does have. I don't want to steer them away from their month either. If they want to come on a month they're not there, I think this committee would love to hear everybody come every month. But I understand every 2 months, or if you don't have something in your schedule, I personally would love to see people, and if they have something in their apartment, they could come and share with us.
Okay. We'd hate to take them away from their work, you know. I'm smiling, I can't tell. By the way, I have a cold coming or here, and that's why I'm wearing the mask. I didn't want to spread all my germs around. So. All right, we will target that kind of the same as it was, and I guess we'll let you know which two will be on for next month. So it'll probably be Marilyn and Jane, but if not, we'll let you know. Is that good with you guys? Okay. Very good. That takes care of that one. Now, sheriff's report. Go ahead, Brent.
Good morning, and thank you for moving me up a little bit. Any specific questions on the submitted reports? Otherwise, you will see a new report that is there, and that shows the comparison from the previous year. There's a previous month. Yes. So that was kind of, you guys have been asking for some different comparisons on those reports. So that is the first couple pages of that report is what you will see there with that. Nothing, I guess, otherwise to stand out in that report. Otherwise, for me to report to you guys, 786 calls, which is, for this time of year, that's slowing down obviously from the summer months. So, and we booked 98 people in. Any other questions with that at all?
Questions for the sheriff? Yes, Marge.
No question, I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it.
And then I guess carry on to the update. I have that on a different one. So the one news release we had, the sheriff's office was recognized by Lexipol, which is our policy company, and that is partially paid by the Wisconsin Counties Association. And our policy, we have two different policies for the sheriff's office, one for the jail and one for patrol side and the rest of the office. The policies, basically drive our compliance with the staff every month. They get what's called daily training bulletins, which is a policy and a short synopsis of the policy and how it applies. And they have to, basically, there's a couple questions they have to answer it right. And when new policies are put out, they are read and understood by the employee, and then the responses are tracked and monitored. And because of that, we received a gold award for the entire year. We do get those awards quarterly as well, but sometimes we do get some silvers and stuff, but we were able to get gold this year. So may not seem, I guess, like a lot or whatever, or a big deal, but for the amount of policies and daily training bulletins that come out, and we're very policy heavy in the department. So that's I think a pretty good award. And all of that program is overseen by Chief Deputy Carlson, and those daily training bulletins put out by him, and all the policies are updated. So pretty significant award, I feel. So otherwise, moving on, April, we have our annual department in-service training coming up. And then on Monday, Deputy Murphy and I presented at the opioid educational opportunity. That's all I have for that.
Brett, you want to touch on the memorial thing from Monday? I think it was.
Yesterday, yeah, so, yesterday, was the 20th anniversary of, when Deputy Michael Shannon was killed in the line of duty. And, yesterday I spoke, County Manager Haggard spoke. And, a member from Concerns of Police Survivors of Wisconsin and a pastor. And we probably had about a 25-30 minute ceremony yesterday. I think pretty well attended by, I think county members, county employees, community members, as well as law enforcement from, yeah, I guess around the state, I would say generally. So I don't know how many people were there, 75, maybe something like that. I didn't count, but I think it was pretty well attended, and the feedback was positive.
I'm sorry I missed it, but it goes to show what you people go through and what can happen and occasionally does happen. So we thank you for your service and your abilities. We appreciate it. Any other comments? Mike Baker.
Brian, can you just touch on the P3 program? I'm kind of happy that you have that and explain to everybody what that is.
Yeah, so the sheriff's office works with Crime Stoppers, Adams County Crime Stoppers, and I guess maybe about 2 months ago, it switched from the old text to tip, I guess, computer-based system to now an app. It's called P3. And so anytime there's anybody wants to report a crime or some information about drug activity, it's on an app now, which is more user-friendly. Kids like it, it's easier to track. And so that's been implemented for probably, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks. And so far we've received a number of tips. The other thing that has been nice is we've received tips from other counties. So tip might can't come in from another county, and they're able to kind of email it to us, I'll say, inside this software program. And then we're able to track it, monitor it, and communicate back with the tipster and to get the information. It's all anonymous. So yeah, we just implemented that here. We're still kind of getting going with all of it, but hopefully it'll be it's a better, newer way of receiving and tracking tips as compared to the old way.
That cover it, Mike?
Certainly does. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions for Brett regarding the updates? Now we'll move on to squad purchase, discuss and possibly act on squad purchase.
All right, I'll have Chief Deputy Carlson handle this.
Good morning, thank you, everyone, but
Morning, Dave.
we'll get right into this because I was before this committee last fall to try to order an admin vehicle, and you graciously gave me the approval to order that vehicle. We have yet to receive it, but it is ordered. As we know, the process of getting vehicles is very, very difficult right now. So we have budgeted a admin vehicle, so that vehicle was for last year. That was a 22. We have budgeted for 23, and I have been working since the first of the year to try to come up with some bids on vehicles. It's another admin vehicle, administration vehicle. So it wouldn't be a pursuit vehicle. It would be one that would be in, for example, like an investigator, lieutenant type of vehicle. So it wouldn't be one that would be used in a high speed pursuit or anything like that. It would be what we consider an admin vehicle. So after going as far as contacting the regional manager of North America for Ford, trying to find vehicles and getting nowhere, I did come up with the 3 vehicles that are, I think there's 3 of them that we included in the information here on prior to the meeting. And so what we're asking today is probably the because these are it, this is it, I can't find any other vehicles, these are the ones, so. We have budgeted 39,500 for an admin vehicle. So I got 3 bids and all of them are over that. So one of them is for a Dodge Durango Pursuit, which really wouldn't fit the needs, putting that pursuit vehicle into that group. And the other 2 are for crew cab pickups. And so one is for a Dodge pickup. And the other one is a local bid here from AF Motors for a Chevrolet pickup. And even with the one from AF Motors, they can't guarantee it, but they do have a window open to order it. The other one, last I checked, the Dodge from Ewald's, they say that one is, I'm still able to order that. So I guess today I'm looking for the approval to order one of the 2 pickups. And we will keep in mind that we're gonna have to make some budget adjustments because this will be over our budget by a little bit. I think we can work, which we've had in the past, to stay within our budget, even though this is a little bit over that line item in that specific vehicle. So I personally do not have a preference. Looking for the committee's thoughts and approval for one of the 2 pickups.
Any discussion at the moment? Go ahead, Rick.
I guess this question is for Kyle. I thought there was a stipulation there that they could exceed that amount by 10% for those vehicles, or that not true?
Mr. Chair. Yeah, so the amount budgeted for the admin vehicles, I believe was about. Well, it's 39,500 with the installs. But the sheriff's department has a large capital fund where they may be able to see cost savings in other areas that could potentially cover it, but yeah, it's 10% is generally the amount that they're allowed to exceed without the budget amount.
Supervisor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dave, if you would go with the Dodge, where would that be serviced at? Do you have any idea at the moment?
What we generally do for if it's a recall, like a factory recall, we'll go to a Dodge dealer. We have used Portage for the dealer. There's one in Wisconsin Rapids. Any regular service would be at our local, like we deal with AF Motors and GMJ Automotive for like oil changes and brakes and tires and such. So.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Dave. If you've talked to these dealers, is there a deposit that's made at time of ordering?
No, we never make a deposit. In fact, it's a lot of times right to the end, we can back out of the order, so which is kind of hard to understand, but that's why once in a while they'll come up with a vehicle that they'll say, well, somebody had to back out of an order. So we make, when we sign it, we have the intent to purchase it, but where there's no money exchanged, and if we say we don't need the vehicle, there's no obligation.
So to follow up on that, if you talked to Ted recently regarding that, because I was in there probably within the last month, and he had mentioned about some of the vehicles being ordered and taking some extra time to get here, and people are putting in orders at more than one dealership. And like the one he mentioned, I thought he inferred that there was a down, or not a down payment, but some sort of financial security deposit, and he had to give it back, or he did give it back. And that's the way it was, because it came from a different dealer. So
There's no deposit on a fleet purchase that we've ever done. So I can tell you, Bob, I did talk, I went down and talked to Tad, and actually Carl gave 2 emails explaining, first of all, we looked at other vehicles and, they didn't have anything like an SUV. She said, that's totally off, the table. And then she gave me some, explanation that we would have to, with them, place this order by March 20th. Because GM opened a window, a small window that would allow us to order. And that's pretty typical of all of them. Last fall, if it wasn't for the cooperation with Kyle and Cynthia, we wouldn't have squad cars coming this year because Ford, it was either August or September. I get notice that said you have like a week window to order these squads. We didn't even have the budget set at that point. How do we order squads when we don't even have a budget set? But we worked through that, and thankfully they were able to approve that, and we have squads coming. So it's just this whole process has become very difficult at times. So yeah, they open the window, they close it, they open it and close it. And that's what Cara said, that they've been opening it and closing it. And she said, and it's not even with in her email, she said it's possible that we may be able to order. And so possible, maybe that doesn't give me anything certain. But there's no guarantees with either one of these, to be honest with you. I mean, I personally, if you see the bids, one's, the Dodge is 40,000, and then the Chevrolet 42. So, like I said, I have no personal preference. If the committee, whichever way we would go, I'm certainly fine with either one. I mean, locally, one we've been given a chance locally, the other one is a little bit cheaper, but it's not like a whole lot cheaper. So
You better be careful opening windows this time of year. All right, personally, I'm just gonna throw it out there. It wouldn't take long to use up $2,000 in expenses, sending them to a different dealership to get their service done. And I want Tad Werman here and surviving. So I certainly I am an advocate of buying as local as we can. All right, that's my comment. Anybody else?
I hear no comments, so I'll make a motion. We go with the Motors bid.
Motion has been made to purchase this admin vehicle from AF Motors for 42.4, 42.5, whatever it is. Do I hear a second? Seconded by March. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say nay. Motion carried.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, can I ask one question?
yes,
Is there any type of delivery for that one that we ordered last year? Is there, yeah, is it all?
No status. I've asked numerous times, and all they can say it's a good order. That's what they say. It's a good order. It's in the system. That's all that I get.
The reason why I brought that up, I was thinking maybe we also order the other one, seeing that we have no financial stake in it, and see which one shows up first. I guess we're to that point. I want you guys to have good vehicles and reliable vehicles, and I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not making that motion. I'm just thinking that maybe we do try to get the second one and just see which one shows up first almost.
I'm hopefully, I'm somewhat optimistic. We are receiving our 4 squads today that we ordered in August or September, which is, if you recall, we didn't get our last one. In fact, we're just finishing the installs on the ones for last year. So that's helped tremendously, but that one, I guess what I can do is I'll keep asking them when it is, and if it becomes an issue, then we can maybe address it at that time.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sheriff, you want to talk about the take home policy?
Yes, thank you. So let me start by saying if I'd had staff coming to me 4 years ago and asked to take a squad car out of county, I would have probably, well, I would have said absolutely no, move to the county. And you can take the car home then. And I think Chief Deputy Carlson shares that same philosophy with me. However, our job market is much, much different now than it was 4 years ago or 2 years ago even. Our staff aren't able to find a house in Adams County to live. They can't afford it. One specific deputy that we hired was a recent graduate. He's young, graduated from Adams Fretchup. We hired him. He can't find a house here. He can't afford a house here. So he's living in Wisconsin Rapids, renting an apartment. There's really limited housing here available. There are some that obviously want to live outside the county and have chosen that, and that's fine as well. I wanted to provide you guys a number of just open job opportunities around the state, just to let you guys know that we're not alone with this, but after 100 job postings in page 205 on the state website for police officers and deputy sheriffs, I stopped counting. So I think you get the idea that there's a lot of job opportunities for law enforcement around the state. And we've done very well with increasing our wages for the staff. And that has gone a long way to help retain staff here at the sheriff's office. But this is another way that we can remain competitive with other agencies. There's numerous agencies that surround us and around the state that have a policy like this. This policy was basically used off from the town of Rome Police Department's take home squad policy. And we just took out the portions that we liked or applied to us. So, you know, like I said, we currently have 9 staff that this would apply to right now that live out of county. And we did a survey with them to find out how far out of county they live. And Chris crunched all the numbers and made a spreadsheet for us so we could track this so we knew the financial impact to our budget. And basically how this works is we would charge a fee, and Rome's fee right now is $2 per mile. So if they live 10 miles out of county, so that's 20 miles round trip, that'd be $40. So that's what they would pay monthly. So not per day or per use, it'd be a monthly fee. So it costs $40 a month. So using those numbers, it would cost the deputies, so we average, this is an average of, so the average mile out of county by the deputies right now is 12 miles. And it would cost the deputy $576 to take the car home. And the cost to the county per deputy is $271.80. Now that's obviously using our current gas prices, our average fuel economy for the squads. So the current cost to the county for our current 9 deputies would be basically $3,000, $2,989.80 is how we have it figured. So for $3,000 a year cost to the county, we feel it's a way to give that extra incentive to them to still come to work here instead of living out of the county and going to that county to work. Again, I would absolutely not have been in favor of this several years ago, but unfortunately, the way the market is right now, we have to stay competitive. And I guess when I first started reviewing this, I thought it'd be a lot more money. Yeah, I thought it'd cost a lot more money to the county, to our budget. But it's not so much. So that's, I guess, all I would have. I feel any questions you guys have.
Well, I know I had a couple after having read through that. First of all, the colored portion is the added portion, is that correct?
Oh, that's correct. So on page, what is that, 4? Oh, yeah, 4 and 5, the blue portion is the new part. All the other stuff is our current policy.
All right, that being said, I also noticed that the policy from Town of Rome was 3 pages out of 7. And I'm not sure, what the other 4 pages said. But I know we didn't get a complete policy. We got what you thought we should have. So that bothered me a little bit from the standpoint, I don't know what the others is,
For our policy or for Rome's policy?
Rome's policy.
Oh, their policy mostly talked about, I have it here, but their policy is basically the rest of what our policy is. It talks about maintenance and when you can use it. Rome actually allows personal use off duty of their squads. So we took that whole part out because we don't allow that. Talks about vehicle maintenance, the equipment, what should be in the vehicle. It would somewhat resemble the rest of what our policy is. So we only took out the portion that refers actually taking the car home.
Right, and I would have understood that.
Oh.
Now, the other thing is, this is Kyle, is this a taxable thing for employees then? Would it be?
Mr. Chair, it could potentially be a taxable thing for employees. We haven't really had time to review the policy, Cynthia and I. So I would ask that you allow us time to review the policy of the sheriff's department.
Okay. Well, and the other thing that I was concerned about is, Brent, as you went through this, you basically talked about cost of the different things incurred, and so forth to the county and so forth, but why wouldn't you just use the mileage rate of 58.5 or whatever it was to get a fair comparison? Because there's insurances, there's tires, there's this, there's that, and that's how that's based, I would assume.
We could, I used it because that's how Rome does it. And I figured it'd be a good comparison since it's used that way in the county. I would say of the counties that I know that allow it around us, don't charge. They just let their employees take it home.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that that's necessarily appropriate. I think that'd be a hard sell for me here. So we went with the $2, which is what Rome's is. And there's other benefits to them taking it home as well. We could certainly change that. I would say that the highway shop has a county policy up their take-home vehicles. So I think as far as the payroll side and taxing and stuff, there's a current policy for that. That I think ours could be modeled after from. And so I certainly understand the time and to review it, and I would be fine with that. Obviously wanted to get this out there today. To get your input and get your thoughts, and if there's any follow-up or anything, we'd certainly be willing to do that.
Okay. Some more for information. Supervisor Pease.
If you're done with your question, I have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
Insurance wise and time wise, when an employee leaves the county and heads toward their home, are they now on their time to their house? And when they leave, are they on their own time back to the county? And then if they're not on our time, where does the insurance lie? Suppose they hit a deer going to their house, they're outside of our county, but they're not really on county time. And it's stuff like that that I worry about also with certain questions like that.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Oh. So yes, there's a benefit. If an employee takes home a vehicle that's a county vehicle, the vehicle's under our insurance. What happens with the employee, and there's a tax implication here, and I do need to look at highway too. There's a lot of things we have to look at. And what it's called lease inclusion. And when a if the county offers a vehicle to an employee, there's a benefit to the employee for that, right? And there's the commuting miles. You know, that's considered non-business, so commuting in, you know, to and from your workplace is, you know, that's considered personal use, right? We don't pay for commuting to and from work. So when you look at this lease inclusion table, and there's a table out there, IRS has it, and there's a value of the vehicle, let's say it's a 50,000 vehicle. You know, there's a depreciation of value of the vehicle per year. And that, so what we have to do then is determine how much of personal use of that vehicle is on the employee, and then it's claimed as a benefit. Now, it may be a payroll implication, so it might hit their payroll, or it could be the end of the year statement that they have to claim on their taxes. That's for them to talk to their tax professional on how to do it. But again, this is something we probably need to look at county-wide to see, you know, if the highway's doing it, that we all do it the same, right? And I'm not against, don't think that I am against giving benefits to our employees. Absolutely not. I think it's a great idea. We have to be competitive. If we can't have the wages, we have to have other benefits that attract personnel. And the fact that they would not need a personal vehicle to get to and from their home to here is an incentive for new employment. So I'm for it. We just have to, I saw this yesterday, so we need time to kind of look at the numbers, and I'm just now hearing about the $2. No fault to the sheriff. I know this is probably something he's wanting to push. I get it. You know, let's be competitive now, but we need to kind of vet it, if you will. So I think what Kyle was requesting is that potentially we can table this and then put numbers together to see, you know, and then communicate to the employee. If this happens, this is the impact on you, you know, so.
Well, I was gonna recommend that we take no action and review it. I'm not sure that we have to do a table, but.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
regarding that, in our current policy, there is a statement in our policy. I'll just read it to you. It says, members are cautioned that under federal and local tax rules, personal use of county vehicle may be create an income tax liability for the member. Questions regarding the tax rules should be directed to the member's tax advisor. That's already in our, even though we don't have that,
yeah,
it's already in our policy, so that there obviously, I agree, there is some of that will take place, so.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, one last thing. So I know that $2 was talked about. So if we can maybe get rid of the $2 and, you know, create a better incentive. But anyway, we need to kind of put the numbers together and then what the budget impact will be.
okay. What do you guys think? I'm not sure we need a motion to table. But I don't know, so. Why don't you just review the policy with the manager and other department heads, because I want to work it. Get this thing sorted out. Is that fair?
Yes, thank you. It'll be on the agenda then for next month, if we can sort everything out.
I think that's for it.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right. Jail tour. Next month.
After this meeting,
Yeah. So we'll just, that's required of this committee once a year. So we will do it after the meeting next month, whenever get that up or not. The date. Okay, that's taken care of. K-9 needs assessment. Okay, Brett, how many, or who's gonna give a report on that? Okay, I wanna know, I mean, how many K-9s do we currently have? Do we have any in training? Do we, what's the story?
So we currently have 3, hold on a second, Christie, you have the. In. I have, I guess, a report, if I could I can pull it up and maybe is everybody on the screen where they can see this if I pull it up? I have your permission. Basically, it's a report, that shows all of our, what's that?
Are you signed in?
Oh, no, I'm not, I'm sorry, yeah.
Click on the calendar and then I'll make you
right.
oh,
I have too many tabs open here. We have three, I guess I'll talk a little bit as I get logged in here, but we have three canines.
Well, let me ask you this, Brent.
Sure.
From my short-term memory, it seems like we had two and one was nearing the end of the service life. And they were training another one or something like that. And then I never heard that we got rid of one, so I just kind of want to report on where we're at.
Sure.
currently.
So we have three, we purchased two, I believe in April or the spring of 21. Okay. Anyways, I don't know, but nonetheless, we have three canines. So I have here, and I can share it after the meeting. This is a report of all of our canines and all their deployments. So each time a canine officer deploys their dog, there's a specific canine program that we have. They hit a button and it tracks everything about that. So we know the type of deployment, the date, time, the location. And I have this really neat colored graphs and charts. But in summary, we had 275 deployments. No, sorry, that's a different chart. We had a total of 62 drug arrests related to the canines last year. Trying to look for the total deployments for last year. I might have had those up. 60. So it looks like 85 total deployments, if my math is right there in my head, and 62 total arrests. So as an example, you know, their vehicle sniffs, partial sniffs, perimeter security, felony stops, article searches. So I'll share this out to you guys. There's a lot of good information in it. If there's something else you guys need or want with that, please let me know. And this summary of this is included in our annual report, which we'll have hopefully by May to you guys. So we're accumulating all that data now. I don't put all this information there, but it's certainly a summary of that information.
Manager. Go ahead.
I didn't even say it yet. All right, so I have been asked by other board members as to the need. I know that we have 3 canines, but I guess there's like, what is, maybe the report will support a need. Let's say you need 4. But I know that was one thing. And then the other thing I want to share with this group is that, again, community members also reach out to me and they are highly in support of a canine. They love the canine program, which is I guess reflective of the fundraising success. So just want to share that as well.
Word from our sponsor. Right. Let's do it this way, Brent. Let's put that on the agenda for next month. And give us a report. And also include in that where the funding and stuff comes from. If we have any major donors, I don't know what's public and what's not on that, but at least, you know, share with us what is appropriate.
All right.
All right. Then we're gonna move on. Capital assets. And I actually requested that simply because when we're talking about buying squads and so forth, I don't know what we currently own. Fact is, if someone asked me how many patrolmen we have, I wouldn't be able to tell them. I mean, to me, this is what the sheriff's department is for, and it needs to stay within the department. For anything that isn't public and not meant to be public, so I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a concern that we're buying vehicles and we don't know what we currently own. And what year they are and what stage they're in as far as their service life. And so we got this put together and there's a lot more vehicles there than I thought. And I guess the other thing is, some of these, the way it's listed, I'm not sure what's a snowmobile, and what's a UTV or ATV, or I know what a boat is and a boat motor, I can figure that one out. So I guess I'm just requesting some information where you can and where you can't. I think that probably falls to Dave or not sure.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just, sorry, Dave. So I want to start with, there's some acronyms on here to make the reporting a little bit more clear. That, Kyle, do you want to explain what WIP means? And then also when there's WIP, there could be a current vehicle on the inventory. So you could be looking at what you think is 2 vehicles. When in fact, one has to stay in existence until the WIP is met, and Kyle will explain that.
Yep, Mr. Chair, so WIP means work in progress. Those are vehicles that we have purchased. But we don't have all the installs completed on them yet. So they're not deployed yet. And then this report is as of 12/31/22, I want to add, so. It may not be current as of now, because this report comes from a schedule that we maintain for our annual audit. Just so we can account for depreciation on our capital assets. So it's categorized by public safety and judiciary, so there may potentially be items that belong to emergency management that are listed on there. I did try to remove those items, like the towers and stuff like that were listed, and I had those removed. And the items from prior to 2017, that stuff was all historical stuff that was provided to me from our auditors because they had maintained the capital asset listing prior to 2017. But Chris and I go through this list every year just to make sure that we have the proper vehicles listed on there.
All right, I just don't want the sheriff's department to read anything into this other than it was an FYI. Item.
Mr. Chair, if I could, yeah, we track, we have a different spreadsheet that we track as well with all of our vehicles. It's updated monthly, with mileage based on our fuel usage. And that's the spreadsheet that we, I guess, probably rely on more than, I've never seen this before. Being prepared for this meeting, so, we certainly have all of our, capital asset stuff in our budgets. And Chris tracks all of that stuff, so we'll share, I guess, that other spreadsheet with you. But that's vehicles. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff on this that is not vehicles. Repeater systems and software stuff for dispatch and whatever. So it's kind of a little different. But if you're mainly interested in vehicles, we can get to that spreadsheet as well.
We appreciate that. You mentioned before, you wanted to stop counting. I wanted to stop counting in this one. But it's well over 30 vehicles and I was concerned. And so anyway, another report that spells it out better, I would certainly appreciate it, and I think the committee will. So your comments, Rick, please.
Right, you said you have another list of other options. I remember many years ago that there was a sniper gun misplaced or stolen or whatever. So you have a list for items like that also, and you check those items every year. Like, I know from where I used to work, everything was, we had red tag. And they had a certain number, and every cost center had to go out and make sure they had that piece of equipment that got broken or stolen or was outside. You should have documentation that says where it went.
Mr. Chair, regarding like firearms and ammo, we have a spreadsheet that is, there's a few of us that have access to it. We track where the weapon is, who it's issued to. If it's not issued to an individual, then it's in the armory, and we do an armory inventory regularly. Each time we do any type of range training and we use ammo, Obviously, we're not down to knowing every single round that was fired, but because different courses, we fire a little bit different. If somebody doesn't get, as many rounds off, it's impossible, but we get within reason how many we need that just so we know that we're ordering ammo and so on. But yeah, the firearms one we have since that incident back in the day, we take and do that inventory regularly. And obviously that area is cameraed now that it wasn't at the time, and as well. So there's a lot of precautions that we do, very limited access that who can get in there. But so the inventory sheet basically, like I said, would say these are in the armory. You should be able to go to that sheet and we go in there. Okay, where's this one? And we physically, like 2 of us or 3 of us will go in and do that. So there's, accountability. And then the deputies always have to have, obviously we don't check every squad every day, but they're responsible to make sure that they're responsible, just like they're responsible with any other piece of equipment, to make sure that they have that. Okay, so
you're gonna give some sort of report form on that you can make us understand and keep it simple. I don't want to get into management, not at all, but
you're
just
looking
a report form.
excuse me, Bob, you're looking for like the vehicle thing mainly, is that what you're looking for? Because that would be simple to give you.
That's what I was looking for.
No, that's fine with me too. I just want to make sure that we're looking at all our equipment.
Yeah, that's something we do, when we keep that up, and we do that. Because Chris gets the mileage on each vehicle, and we update that all the time. So it would be real accurate. So we could certainly get you that list. That will be not a problem.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
you just want that spreadsheet shared with this committee now? Or do you want it for next month for discussion?
I would prefer next month, so I get a chance to review it.
Okay.
Anything else for the sheriff? If not, you guys are free to go.
Thank you.
Okay, moving back on the agenda. We have judges not attending monthly expense report. I will look at it. Anybody else have any questions regarding that? If not, we'll move on to the PA. Rebecca, you were front and center. Well, in theory.
In theory. I don't have a whole lot to report. I have a note to try to give you guys some numbers, for the next time I'm at the meeting, give you case filing numbers.
Chance you can get to a mic,
Sure.
please.
Yep. All right. And I got the broke one. That's all right. Now that everybody can hear me, I said, I don't have a whole lot to report. I will, next time I'm in attendance, pull some case numbers for you all. In terms of the number of cases filed, so I can give you a little bit more substantive information. Otherwise, the big change in our office is we do have one change in staffing. Krista Wolin was our paralegal office manager. She took the position with Judge Bonnet, so she's moving upstairs with Judge Bonnet to be the judicial assistant and juvenile court clerk. And we were able to make a hiring decision and fill her position. The individual who is going to be taking over that position is Michelle Steege, and she comes from Marquette County DA's office doing very similar things. So again, I think I previously reported that despite all of the staffing shortages everywhere, this office has been extremely lucky to be able to pull in individuals with a lot of experience.
Thank you. Any questions? The VA? Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Michelle, I see you're here the environment just because you wanted to see us.
I didn't know. I saw the Emmys and I didn't know if I would end up having to answer questions about the Emmy position from last month. The rate of pay.
Is there any chance that you have a mic?
Yeah, she used it.
Well, that's nice. I got a chair up here.
I will start shouting.
Tanya, like I say, I gotta put on my big girl voice for Bob.
The rate of pay for last month that came up in regards to the medical examiner, I'm here for that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Moving on. So Jan's already up, she's ready to go. Child support.
Good morning. We're doing really great with our numbers. Just keeping busy in our office all the time. And does anyone have any questions on our performance? Looks like no questions. Check summary and expenditures, the Skyward reports are attached for both months. And we receive our reimbursement quarterly, so of course our revenue isn't a lot until the end of April, we'll get our first payment. So, any questions on that? All right, here's my pitch for Reality Day. We've got a really great program and a lot of community members and staff from the county, business owners, business people are sending their workers there. We're gonna have a great program and we really encourage anyone to come and help or stop by and check it out and see how amazing it is. It's a real eye opener for not only the students that participate, but the people that do help us with the program. It's just, we'd love to have you. I know a couple of people here already are planning on attending. So, thank you.
Where's that held?
At the high school in the morning, the middle school, kids are brought over to the high school for their portion of the program, and in the afternoon, it's high school students.
Okay. Janet, or excuse me, Marge.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to reinforce what Janet has to say. I participated in them for several years, and it's a very good program.
It is on April 18th, and we can email the information to you if you want us to. We'll do that. Anybody else want the information? Okay,
No, hold on. Thanks, Janet.
thanks. All right, tax intercept. I did take a peek this morning and the numbers were there. But they have not reported any federal intercept numbers. There's just a small amount of state. I didn't have time to plug it all in and give you guys a new report. So hopefully next month we'll have big numbers to report for intercepts. So that's about it.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Lori. From the court.
Good morning. I don't need a microphone.
That's true.
We've all lined.
Anybody
Only
can.
because she used to yelling at Mike.
Former cheerleader too. Okay, so, any questions on the report for last month?
Those numbers are down substantially from previous year. These are all inclusive. February,
Are you talking for February?
all for both.
Will be, they're actually up from last year.
What am I looking at?
Are you looking at the February one or the January one? I don't have my January one in front of me.
You're right, I was reading it wrong,
Backwards.
pretty much.
And the increase on the planning and zoning ones was for the annual septic pumping tickets. We generally get quite a few, excuse me, quite a few of those that are filed. A lot of them get into compliance and a lot of them are, I don't have the numbers as far as how many of them are dismissed, but. And then I do have one other thing.
Go ahead, Larry.
I did submit my annual report. But I didn't see it on the agenda anywhere.
Yeah.
So that can be forwarded to next month or some, or if anybody has any questions, or did everybody get it?
It's attached.
It's attached, okay, I just didn't notice it.
We just need it to the county board.
Motion to move the annual report from the Turkish court to the county board.
So moved.
Motion by Secretary Baker, seconded by Don Valero. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Who's there sign? Motion carried. We'll move that on to the county board.
Thank you.
Yeah. That it?
Yes, sir.
Emergency management.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Jane.
Now I need a mic. Bob's told me that before, right? Do you have any questions on anything in my reports? No questions? Okay, well then I'll move on to the next item that I asked to be on the agenda. I just wanted to inform you that the contracts, there are 4 communication tower and ground lease license agreements that are due. And they will expire this year in August and December. I took those license agreements to the corporation council and had him review them, and I wrote a letter to US Cellular Company. To ask them what process they want to go through to renew those contracts. I gave them until March 30th to get back to me. So hopefully we'll hear something, and once I hear something, I'm hoping that they'll draft the new agreements and then I'll review them and take them to corp council. And then I'll bring them to committee for your approval. When I talked with the corporation council, he did not feel that those needed to go to county board, so that's why I'll bring them back to committee. Because they're just renewing them, it's not a new contract.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask for an additional step that anytime there's money in or money out of the county that finance or admin be included in the, okay, you're shaking your head like this. I just want to make that clear that,
And Kyle was aware of that too.
yeah, it'll be vetted by admin then.
Yeah.
And just so everyone understands that that is a revenue item for the county. They pay us.
So there are 4 towers that, well, actually, these agreements are what we pay to US Cellular on 4 of our towers. And they're for the communications for all the first responders. We do have a revenue item, which is bug tussle. Bug tussle, years ago, I brought that to committee. They wanted to know if they could lease from our tower, and we have a revenue item from them. For US Cellular, we pay about $1,173, I think it is, monthly to them right now. That usually typically increases every year 5%, and that's a standard on all utilities. The revenue we received from Bug Tussle
That typically goes up 3% every year. And we're receiving approximately, I think it's $1,671, don't quote me on that, but close to that each month. Any questions? Rick, can answer to your question, we're still working on Rome. I did bring that back to, in answer, he usually brings that up. I did bring Rome's back to core council again, and it's still
There.
there. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. We'll move on.
Thank you.
Medical examiner, Marilyn.
Good morning.
All right.
So you have before you my January report and my February report. So I just made a few notes for January. We did at the end of January hire 3 new deputy medical examiners who are currently in training. Through February, either the chief deputy or myself went with them on every call. And it looks as though we're going to do that through March as well. And after that, they should have some independence. There will still be certain things that we'll want to go on, but they are in the process of training and really will help out the office as far as on-call hours. We do have the cot, the new power cot. We are using it. It doesn't have a lock-in system yet, but we have everything, just waiting for maintenance to get that put into the vehicle. So that cot was a $9,850 cot that I ordered, and that was used, ARPA funds were used for that. The company called and said because we were so patient in the time it took to get it to us, they did upgrade us and gave us a $13,600 cot instead. So it's a better cot than what I had ordered originally. That's a refurbished cot as well as the one I had originally ordered. There are a lot of things that we have to order to go with it, and those are all in place. Other than that locking system, we're still waiting for that to get put in. But otherwise, we have used it several times and it's been okay. Then, let's see, I guess that's all. So at the January meeting, Supervisor Pease asked me to look into a more equitable pay scale for the department in general or specific things on the pay scale to meet the current demands of calls, because as Supervisor Pease knows, because he works very closely with us, the length and difficulty of calls has changed since 2013, which was the last time anything was updated. So it did need to be looked at, and I appreciate him bringing that forth. I did have a meeting. We met with Michelle, Cynthia, Kyle, and myself to discuss this. It was very productive, and I think everybody is in agreement for the needs. So next month, I think it was agreed that we will have an actionable proposal to present to this committee.
I will say, I actually did it in December and it's been 2 months, so it's going along well, I was told. I just think it was unfair that, so a little history for those that are listening, that the part-time employees did not even get CPI or have not been getting CPI even, so their wages are staying the same way everybody else is going up, and they're currently looking at that. I think that's just fair for those people. If you don't know, when you're on 24 hours a day, I know a couple guys in the room have been on 24 hours a day. Stuff that stuff adds up, and when everybody else is asleep by 2 a.m, you're getting that call and you have to answer that call. It's hard to find those people, and if we don't move them along with everybody else, I think it's difficult to retain those staff. So I think that was the gist of what was going on. Would you agree with that, Marilyn?
Absolutely, and I think at the meeting, we all agreed with that, we just haven't looked at it, since 2013.
Other questions, comments? Go ahead, Supervisor Baker.
Marilyn, can you just touch on what type of qualifications that you're looking for when you are going to be considering hiring one of your deputy medical examiners?
Sure, ideally, what we're looking for is some medical background, and two of the deputies that we hired were both paramedics. So they had that, the training. Well, it's a whole different ballgame, but it helps to have the medical experience. For a chief deputy, what I would look at is that they have the ability or are in the process of gaining the ABMDI certification, which is the American Board of Medical Legal Desk Certifiers. We my current chief deputy does have that certification, and the deputy that we lost had that certification. Now, the three new ones are a long way from getting that, but we will begin that process of getting them toward that once they're trained. But certainly medical knowledge is helpful. The ability to work nights, weekends, be on call, 24, 48, 72-hour shifts. That would be the main qualifications, I believe.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Ms.
something else I'd like to offer is that what's coming to you next month is a substantial change in that area. One that does involve the chief deputy too, so. And a succession type planning, and we always need to think about that as well.
Supervisor Edwards.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, I have a question for you, Marilyn.
Yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought at one time all of the examiners had to be certified within a certain amount of time of employment.
no, it's about a year-long process to be certified through ABMDI. And you have to have been in the field for quite a long time to understand death investigation before you even begin that process. It's something that I would like to have everyone eventually who serves in this office to have that, but it's a long process. So the three that are currently hired, the new hires, they would not be able to obtain that certification until a year from now at the very least.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
All for me.
How's the band running? I just thought I'd say that in order,
All right,
on repeat.
so I don't want to talk about what, Rick?
Number one.
Okay, so we got new wipers. Let's see what else. Everything was fine until the other night.
Oh, no.
When I was out on a call in the middle of the night on County Road C. And I had to make a Y turn because I was gonna go in the other direction when I was done. And there's nothing on County Road C. I mean, I can see there's no cars, there's no nothing. So I go to make this Y turn and backed into the only mailbox that was there. And
Part of a Y turn, why?
why did I do that? Yeah. So yeah, there's a big dent. I went to TNT. It doesn't affect anything. It's as always purely aesthetics, but I did go to TNT and I'm waiting for a yeah, there's some thought that it may just be able to be plunged out. But that backup camera at night in the cold. Oh, no, that's an excuse. I didn't even see it, so. Yeah, yeah.
I think that should stay as character. It's that particular character.
I have no excuses.
Actually, I hadn't heard anything about that. The question was.
It's running fine. But then, oh, this is just a sideline to that story. So after I hit it, I didn't think it did any damage. So I'm going down Highway 13 now and the warning light comes on. Your back door is ajar. And meanwhile, I have a body back there and I can just see that. flying. So I pulled over real quick and it really was ajar.
How's the mailbox?
I have no idea because I thought it hit a snow.
It's out there now. No.
Yeah, yeah, full disclosure.
All right, if there's nothing else, we are, hope that the next meeting, yeah, Josh.
Mr. Chair, may I make a recommendation on a future agenda item reference to the comment I just made? And that would be, we look at ways that we can simplify those budgets. And also include a key for the acronyms. That's where it needs to be, because it's very hard to decipher and understand what these acronyms are. So that would be very helpful in my opinion as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. You serve on HHS, if you want to talk acronyms, that's a good spot. All right. Okay. Next meeting is set for the 12th of April, 9 in the morning. Agenda items. We have some already on there. And anything else, let me know. With that, I believe the meeting will stand adjourned. Thank you all for coming.